Alright, let's talk about Molluscum Contagiosum. It comes from the Molluscum Contagiosum virus. It's pretty common in children. We actually experienced this with our daughter. She was 5 at the time, and we noticed these little red bumps on her torso, and of course we freak out. Oh my gosh, my kid's dying. But not that big of a deal. As we discovered. And so let's look at the Molluscum Contagiosum virus. So it's a pox virus, similar to smallpox, monkeypox. There are actually a ton of pox viruses: camelpox, cowpox, horsepox, raccoon pox, skunk pox, seal pox, squirrel pox, sheep pox. There's a goat pox, swine pox. Then there's all the fowl poxes, which includes canary pox, pigeon pox, turkey pox, sparrow pox, peacock pox. But you know what it does not contain is chicken pox, because chicken pox is something completely different with the varicella virus. So anyway, in the pox virus, the genus Molluscum virus, it's the only one in that genus. It's oval shaped. It's got a pretty large double-stranded DNA genome. Pretty common. So it is benign. It's superficial. It's only in the epithelial cells, and it's characterized by the little bitty bumps, and they have a little depression on the top of them. So the bumps are usually called mollusca, usually 2 to 5 centimeters or millimeters in size, usually painless. But they can become inflamed and swollen and itchy, especially with kids. You have some issues with the itching. Some of the histology: the acanthosis, which is the thickening of the skin cells along the outer level, with that central crater filled with the virus. That actually you can see in here with the what's called Henderson-Patterson bodies, which are the inclusion bodies, which is where the virus replicates. So this is all virus right in here in the opening, with the little crater right here on the skin. So this makes it very easy to auto-inoculate. If you scratch them, they will spread. Also contact, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So this came from the HealthPexis net. A little bit more of an explanation. You see the thickening of the skin cells, the epithelial cells down here, with the molluscum bodies traveling up towards the top of the little bumps. All right, so presentation: the primary symptom, basically the only symptom, is the small, firm, waxy, flesh-colored bump, the mollusca with the central crater. Most of the times it's painless, but there is some itching involved, and it's just kind of an annoying little bump. Usually the bumps are not too many, usually less than 20, and they're usually found on the face, the neck, the armpits, arms, the torso. That's where it was on my daughter. The abdomen. It can also be on the inner thighs and the genitals. In adult cases, when it's on the genitals, and actually in most adult cases, it's considered a sexually transmitted infection, due to that skin-to-skin contact. Among the children, usually the scratching or the picking of the bumps will spread it on themselves, so more bumps are going to appear. The auto-inoculation. So transmission is through direct physical contact or contaminated fomites. Because it is strictly epithelial virus, It's not in the bloodstream. It's not going to be transmitted through cough or through bodily fluids. It's basically just direct contact. So it again is an STI. It's found a lot of times in wrestling, which is super gross, because there's that close contact. It's warm, it's wet, it's nasty. There are also a lot of cases involved with people that swim a lot, and it's usually thought that that's due to the fomi of the swim towels or the wet swim clothes, not so much the water of the swimming pool. Some of the risk factors, especially in children, the atopic dermatitis or eczema, that is due to the fact that there's a lot of micro skin abrasions, open skin, so it's easily spread. It's also common in people with weak immune systems, so people that are receiving treatment for cancer or HIV patients. And so sometimes if you see more than 100 bumps or large bumps or long-lasting bumps that don't go away within a couple months, that could be an indication that there is some underlying immune system suppression, maybe some HIV that should be checked out. Because of the fact that it's external, it's epithelial, it's not in the bloodstream, it's self-limited. So once the bumps, the mollusca are gone, the virus itself is gone as well. So usually within 6 months, it's cleared up. In my daughter, it was about 6 or 7 months. Sometimes it can last up to 4 years, but that's not as common. And so because it's self-limiting, one of the best treatments, actually, if they can stand it, is just to wait it out. And there are means of physical removal through freezing it off, cutting it off, burning it off. There's also some oral therapy that has been tested. The drug of choice is cimetidine, which seems like an odd choice, but cimetidine has been shown to stimulate T lymphocyte production, which of course is going to help eradicate viruses. And so they've found some success in children with like a 2-month course of cimetidine will clear it up. So that's a little bit faster than the 6-month average just waiting it out. But in kids where you're worried about burning or cutting stuff off and freaking them out, this is a good option. There are also some creams and liquid topical therapies that are options. These can sometimes be very painful. With our daughter, we had read that apple cider vinegar was an option, and so we tried some of that. Apple cider vinegar being a weak acid. You put it on there with a little cotton ball and band-aid it on and leave it overnight, and it burns it off. And that was useful. It worked, but you have to do that with every single mollusca, and so it's hard to get them all, and it's painful. So, Molluscum Contagiosum, not too scary of a virus. It's a self-limiting pox virus that affects the skin. It's common in children, the immunocompromised, and some sexually active adults. And really the only symptom is the presence of the small flesh-colored bumps called mollusca. And there are various treatment options available, but often the best treatment is no treatment. And because it is self-limiting, it will usually take care of itself in a couple of months.